The room was dark and cold. Hundreds of aliens sat in silence, their glowing eyes fixed on the stage. The air smelled of smoke, metal, and fear. Bright lights pointed at a metal cage in the center. Inside that cage was a girl. She looked around. 17 in human years, but she was not human. Her skin had a silver blue shine, glowing slightly in the dark. Her long hair was wild, her face full of cuts and dirt. Thick chains were locked around her hands and feet. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She stared at the crowd with sharp, angry eyes, like a trapped wolf ready to attack. The auctioneer, a tall creature with 3 eyes and a long coat, stood in front of the cage. His voice echoed through the chamber. "Lot number 91, he shouted. The wild alien girl found in Sector X9, extremely rare. Dangerous, untamed. Gasps and whispers filled the room. She killed 2 guards. She bit off someone's finger. I heard she doesn't sleep. Just watches like she's waiting," the auctioneer smiled. "This girl is not a servant. She is not a pet. She is power. She is a weapon." He paused for effect. "Now, who will make the first bid?" Silence. No one moved. Even the bravest aliens hesitated. They had never seen someone like her before. Most slaves cried. Most begged. Most looked weak. But this girl, she stared at everyone like they were insects. The auctioneer tried again. Starting bid, 5,000 credits. Still no answer. The girl growled. "Not like a human." "Not like any known species?" It was deep, low, and made a guard step back in fear. The auctioneer cleared his throat. "Fine, 3,000 credits?" Nothing. From the back of the hall, someone whispered, "She's cursed." Another one added, "No one can control that thing. She's broken." The auctioneer slammed his hand on the podium. "This is not a joke. She's valuable. Think of the power she holds." Then, just as the auctioneer was about to cancel the auction, a voice spoke. "I'll take her." Everyone turned. A human man stood near the exit. He wore a simple black jacket, dusty boots, and a calm face. Nothing special about him. No guards, no weapons. The auctioneer blinked. "What did you say?" "I said I'll take her," the man repeated. "I'll pay everything I have." The crowd laughed. "A human? Is he mad?" The auctioneer stared. "You know what she is, right? She's dangerous." "I know," the man interrupted. "I'll still take her." The alien girl inside the cage looked at him for the first time. Her eyes narrowed. She studied him. No one had looked at her like that before, not with fear, not with hate. Just, "Come, very well," the auctioneer said, trying to hide his surprise. 5,000 credits, sold. The guards looked confused. "Should we release her?" "She." "Kill him," one of them whispered. "Not our problem," said the auctioneer. "He bought her." The man walked to the cage. The guards opened the gate slowly, ready to shoot, but the girl didn't attack. She stood up, chains dragging on the ground, and walked out. Step by step, she moved toward the human man. She stopped a few feet away. "You're not scared?" She asked in a low, rough voice. "No," he said. "You're not a monster." She looked at him, confused. "What's your name?" he asked. She didn't answer, not yet. She didn't trust him, but something in his voice, something felt different. He turned and started walking away. "You can come if you want. You're free now." Free? She had not heard that word before. Not in a long time. The crowd watched in silence as the wild alien girl followed the human man out of the hall. Chains still around her wrists, but she walked by choice, and just before the door closed, she whispered something. "Zura." That was her name. The door shut behind them. No one in that room could explain why the human had done it, or why she followed him. But deep down, they all felt the same thing. Something had started, and nothing would ever be the same again. The stars moved slowly outside the ship's window. Inside, silence filled the small space. A metal table, 2 chairs, a low hum from the engines, and between it all, 2 strangers. Zura sat in the corner, her knees to her chest. Chains still clung to her wrists, but she didn't seem to notice. Her silver blue skin glowed faintly in the dim light. Her eyes never blinked. She watched him, the man, the one who bought her, He stood near the control panel, fixing a broken screen with quiet hands. Sparks popped, tools clicked. He didn't speak. Not yet. Zura finally broke the silence. Why? The man paused. Why? What? Why did you buy me? He looked at her, really looked. Because no one else would. That's not an answer. He gave a small smile. Maybe not. Zura's voice was sharp. You're not rich. You're not powerful. You don't even carry a weapon, so why risk your life? For me? He put his tool down, walked over, sat across from her. My name's Jace Riker. I'm not a hero. I'm just a mechanic from Outpost 9. Zura narrowed her eyes. Then you're a fool. Maybe, Jace said. But I've seen what happens to people like you. Sold. Broken, forgotten. I couldn't watch that again. She tilted her head. So you pity me? No, he said simply. I saw something in your eyes. Not fear, not hate, just die and fight. You reminded me of someone. Who? He didn't answer. Zura looked down. Her voice was quieter now. You think you can fix me? Like your machines? No, Jace said. I don't want to fix you. I want to understand you. Zura stood up slowly. The chains rattled. You think you're different from the others. But you're still human. You want control. You want to use me. Jace stood too, not scared. No one owns you now. You're free to leave, she blinked. Her lips parted, but no words came. No one had ever said that to her, ever. He walked over to a small cabinet, opened it, and pulled out a small metal key. Then, gently, he handed it to her. The chains. Only you can unlock them. Zura took it slowly. Her hands shook for a long time. She just stared at it, then she dropped the key. I don't know how to be free, she whispered. Jace nodded. Then let's learn. 12 hours earlier, Jace stood outside the auction chamber. In his hand was a small photo, old, worn, and nearly faded. A girl, bright smile, same silver-blue skin. Not Zura. Her name was Lyra, his best friend from childhood. Adopted, alien, gone, taken in a raid, sold, lost. He never found her again. So when he saw Zura, wild, chained, full of rage, he saw more than just danger. He saw a second chance. Back in the ship, Zura sat at the edge of the small bed. She still hadn't used the key. Jace was in the pilot seat, guiding the ship through asteroid fields. Quiet, calm. Suddenly, Zura's eyes went wide. Her breathing changed. Stop the ship. Phew. Jace looked back. What is it? She stood up, eyes glowing now. Someone marked me. I can feel it. They're tracking us. Before he could ask more, alarms screamed. Multiple ships. Closing in fast, Zura looked at him. They're not here to take me back. They're here to erase me. Jace looked at her, then the controls. We're not giving up. She hesitated. You'll die for me? He smiled. Told you I'm not a hero. Then he hit the thrusters. Asterisk. His ship shook outside. Stars blurred into long silver lines as Jace's ship escaped into light speed. The enemy ships were left behind, for now, but danger still lingered. Inside, Zura stood in front of the mirror, in the tiny bathroom. Her reflection stared back, wild hair, glowing veins, dirt on her face. She pulled up her sleeve. There it was again, the strange mark. Not a tattoo. Not a wound, a living symbol, glowing under her skin. Lines, circles. Something ancient. It pulsed with a quiet rhythm, like a heartbeat. Like it was alive. She touched it. A sudden flash, a burning image in her mind. A city on fire, a lab, screaming scientists. And her, much younger, strapped to a table, wires in her skin. Metal arms poking into her brain. Her legs gave out. She fell to the floor, shaking. Zura? Jace was at the door. His voice was calm, but full of worry. She didn't answer. He stepped inside and knelt next to her. Her eyes met his. Something is inside me. Later, in the engine room, Jace pulled out a hidden scanner from a metal box. He hesitated before using it. This is old tech, illegal in most systems. But it reads more than just biology. It looks for designs. Zura sat on the floor, quiet. He aimed the scanner at her arm. It beeped once, then went silent for a few seconds, then it screamed. The screen lit up with symbols. Not human, Not alien, but something lost. A voice spoke from the scanner in a robotic tone. Subject classified. Bioweapon Protocol X7. Genetic structure unknown. Origin. Obsidian core. Status incomplete. Jace stared. You're not just rare, you're built. Zura looked at him. I was made? He nodded slowly. No, drone. Designed. You're not a weapon by accident. Someone created you for war. Her fists clenched. Then they failed. I escaped. Jace looked closer at the data. Your DNA isn't just alien, it's hybrid. A mix of at least 3 extinct races and 1 unknown. She stood up, her voice like ice. So what am I? Jace didn't answer because he didn't know. Hours passed. The ship floated in deep space, hiding in a gas cloud. No enemies on radar. Only silence. Zura sat in the cargo bay, staring out the window. Her chest burned. Not from pain, but from questions, from anger. From fear, a soft voice spoke behind her. You're not what they made you. You're what you choose to become. She turned. Jace stood there, holding a small datapad. What's that? She asked. Coordinates. He said, to a place called Arc Station. It's a graveyard. A dead lab, left behind after the war. What's there? Answers. Flashback. Zura's mind she sees flashes again. Machines, needles, screams, but one memory stands out. A scientist. Kind eyes, whispering as he wipes her tears. One day, someone will find you. Not to use you, but to save you. She gasps and grabs her head. Jace rushes over. What is it? Just a place. It's a lock. A lock? Jace asked. Zura nodded slowly. And I think I'm the key. As they prepare the ship to head for Arc Station, a red light blinks on the screen. A transmission. Broken. GLITCH-ING. It repeats one sentence. Warning. Subject X7 detected. All units respond. Terminate on site. Jace looks at Zura. They're coming. She doesn't flinch. Then let them. The ship was quiet. Too quiet. Outside the window, Arc Station floated like a ghost in space, massive, broken, and dead. Long arms of metal stretched into darkness. Lights flickered on and off like the station was breathing. Jace stood in the cockpit, eyes fixed on the screen. No life signs, no power, nothing moving, he whispered. But that's the problem. A place that big should be full of noise. Zura was behind him, standing perfectly still. She wasn't afraid. Not anymore. 30 minutes earlier, the warning signal still echoed in the ship's core systems. Subject X7 detected. Terminate on site. Jace shut it down, but the damage was done. They had been found. Again, .CUR didn't speak. She stared out into space, arms crossed, her breath slow and cold. Jace walked up beside her. You don't have to do this, he said. She turned her head. Do what? Go back to the place where they made you. It could be a trap. Her voice was calm. Then it's a good place to end this. They docked at Arc Station in complete silence. No patrols. No defense system? Just a large open gate. Waiting. Zura stepped onto the cold metal floor first. No fear in her eyes. No chains on her arms, just purpose. Jace followed with a scanner in one hand, blaster in the other. Lights flickered overhead, casting long shadows down the broken hallway. Zura walked like she'd been there before. Maybe she had. They reached a large door. Ancient writing covered its surface, glowing, pulsing like a heartbeat. Zura stepped closer. It reacts to me. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside was a lab, frozen in time. Broken machines, empty tanks, blood on the walls. And in the center, a large glass pod, cracked open from the inside. Zura stared at it, frozen. That's where I came from, she whispered. She walked closer. Hands shaking on a dusty control panel, a blinking light waited. Jace tapped it. A message played, a hologram. Of a human scientist, eyes tired, voice weak. Project X7, final log, we created a living weapon. But she wasn't just a weapon. She learned, she felt, she chose. That's what made her dangerous. And beautiful. Zura's knees gave out. She fell to the floor. Why did they do this to me? She whispered. JSE knelt beside her. Because they were afraid of what they couldn't control. Before she could speak, alarms exploded around them, red lights, screaming sirens, blaster shots. Enemy ships had arrived, soldiers storming into the station. Zura stood slowly. Jace raised his blaster. "We need to run." She didn't move. Her eyes glowed bright, white-hot, almost burning. "No," she said. "No more running." She stepped into the hallway alone. The first group of soldiers saw her and laughed. "It's just a girl," one said. Zura raised her hand, and then everything changed. Light exploded from her skin, energy twisting around her. Fingers like fire and lightning. With a wave of her hand, the floor ripped apart. The soldiers flew backwards, hitting the walls like rag dolls. Jace stood behind her, stunned. Her voice echoed through the hallway. "You wanted the weapon? Here it is." More enemies rushed in. She walked forward, fearless. Each step was power. Walls cracked, lights shattered. Their guns melted in their hands. One soldier dropped to his knees, screaming, "She's not a girl, she's a force of nature!" But then it happened. Zura collapsed. Her power flickered. Jace ran to her. "Zura, stop! You're pushing too far," she gasped. I can't stop it." Her body shook with energy she couldn't hold. Her pulse spiked, eyes turned full white. Jace grabbed her hands. "Listen to me, you're not just power. You're Zura. You choose who you are, not them." Her breath slowed, the glow faded. She fell into his arms. Unconscious, later they escaped. Barely. Back on the ship. Jace wrapped her wounds. Zura opened her eyes, weak but alive. "I lost control," she whispered. He smiled. "You pulled it back?" She looked at him. "I don't know who I am anymore," he replied, soft but certain. "You're not their weapon, and you're not a monster. You're someone learning how to fight for the first time." Zura stared at the stars outside. Somewhere out there, others were still hunting her, but now she was done hiding. The silence inside the ship was deep, not empty, but waiting. Zura sat alone in the engine room. Lights from the stars painted her skin in silver and blue. Her eyes were open, but she wasn't looking at anything. She was remembering, not dreams, not imagination. Real memories. It started after they left Arc Station. Jace had set course for a neutral moon to rest and hide. But Zura didn't need rest. She needed answers. In her hand, she held a small metal cube, taken from the broken lab, cold, old, and nearly dead. But it pulsed softly when she touched it. Jace had called it a memory core, a data lock created by her creators. "It's not just a file," he said. "It's alive. It responds to thought, to feeling, and only to you." So now, in the quiet of the ship, Zura placed the cube on the floor. "I want the truth," she whispered. The cube blinked once. Then the room changed. Light exploded around her. She gasped. She wasn't in the ship anymore. She stood in a different place, full of silver walls, floating screens, and warm air. A digital world. A stored memory. A hologram of a woman appeared. Not human, soft green skin, eyes full of sadness. "If you're seeing this, then you survived." Zura stepped forward, shaking. "My name is Ilari. I was part of the Obsidian Core. We created you, Zura, but not to destroy. We created you to protect." The memory world shimmered. More scenes appeared. Zura saw herself, small, young, inside a tank. Ilari beside her, teaching her, reading stories, singing. "You were never a weapon," the voice said. "You were a shield. A living guardian. You were made to stop the wars, not fuel them." Zura's breath caught. "I don't understand," she said. "The war ended before you were ready," Ilari's voice explained. "Our people died. The labs were destroyed. But we hoped, prayed that one day you'd find this. And remember who you are." The light dimmed. "Zura, your strength is not your power. It's your choice. Choose who you are, not what they made you to be." And with that, the memory ended. Zura fell to her knees. Silent tears on her cheeks. She remembered everything now, later. Jace found her sitting on the floor, cube still in her hand. He sat beside her, waiting. She didn't speak for a while. Then, quietly, she said, "They didn't build me to fight." Jace nodded. "I heard. I was listening from the hallway." She looked at him. "All this time, I thought I was broken, a mistake. A weapon gone wrong, he leaned back. But you're not. No, she said, I'm something else. Suddenly, the ship's lights flickered. Jace stood up. That's not good. An alert beeped from the control panel. Zura walked to the screen. Faster than Jace expected. A message blinked in red. Incoming ship, 1 passenger. Broadcasting human military ID, General Harlan Voss. Jace's face went pale. I know. That name, Zura turned. Who is he? Jace's voice turned cold. He was the man who shut down the Obsidian Core, the one who said you were too dangerous to exist. She stepped forward. So he's the reason I lost everything? Jace looked at her, and now he's coming alone? They stared at each other. Zura's voice was calm. Good, let him come. Meanwhile, in a small command pod floating through space, General Harlan Voss sat alone. His eyes were sharp, old, full of quiet anger. In his hand was a small device. Blinking, tracking. Zura's energy signature. She unlocked the memory core, he whispered. She knows. A soldier's voice came through the radio. Sir, do you want backup? No, he said. If she's truly what they say she is, backup won't matter. He turned off the signal and whispered to himself, let's finish what we started. The air was still. Zura stood at the edge of the ship's landing ramp. The stars above were silent, like they were holding their breath. A gray moon stretched wide below, cracked, dry, forgotten across the landing field. A single pod opened, and out stepped General Harlan Voss. No guards, no army, just him. Tall, cold, controlled. His boots crunched against the dust as he walked toward her, step by step. Like he had all the time in the universe. Jace stood behind Zura, hand on his blaster, but Zura raised a hand. No, she said. This is mine. General Voss stopped a few meters away. His eyes studied her, not with fear, but with calculation. You've grown, he said. Zura said nothing. You unlocked the memory core, he continued. So now you believe you're something more than a weapon. Still, she said nothing. He smirked. I remember the day they finished you. The others thought you were hope. I saw the truth. You were always a risk. Zura's voice was quiet but sharp. You erased them, Voss nodded. Because I knew what you could become. Zura took 1 step forward. And now, I'll show you. The ground began to hum beneath her feet. Light cracked across her skin, not just glowing now, but alive, flowing like rivers of fire and ice. Jace stepped back. He'd seen her power before, but this was something new. Zura didn't scream. She didn't roar. She simply let go. Her body lifted into the air, weightless. Graceful, terrifying. Voss reached for a small control on his wrist. Click, a shock pulse hit Zura's body. Energy meant to shut her down. A fail-safe signal from her creator's. She dropped to the ground, gasping. Voss walked toward her. You see, he said coldly. No matter what you believe, you were still made to be controlled. She looked up, eyes burning. No, she whispered. Not anymore. Then she stood, the ground cracked beneath her feet. Wind burst outward in all directions. The control on Voss's wrist melted in his hand. Zura's voice echoed across the field. You built me to protect. Then feared me when I wouldn't follow orders. She raised her hand and the dust froze. In the air, unmoving. Voss pulled a small gun from his side, aimed at her heart. I won't let you change the balance, he said. You're not hope. You're danger in a pretty shell. She tilted her head. You're wrong. And then the sky changed. Above them, storm clouds formed from nothing. Electricity danced through the air. The moon itself seemed to respond to her pulse. Zura walked forward, not flying, not running, walking with power in every step. Voss fired. The shot hit her chest and dissolved like dust. Her body glowed with white fire now. She didn't attack. She just looked into Voss's eyes. You want me to be a weapon. You want me to burn everything. But I won't become what you fear. Voss backed away. Zura stopped inches from him. You destroyed my creators, my home, my memories. She placed her hand on his chest. But you don't get to destroy who I choose to become. Then she closed her eyes. The storm faded. The energy around her cooled. Voss fell to his knees, not because she hurt him, but because she didn't Power. That big, and she let him live. Later, in the ship, Jace watched as Zura sat in silence. You could have killed him, he said. I know. But you didn't, she nodded. Because he wanted me to prove him right. She looked at Jace. I'm not their weapon, Jace. I'm not their mistake. I'm something they never understood. He smiled softly. What's that? Zura stood up, a choice. Far away, in a dark control room, a group of shadowy figures watched the footage of Zura's power. One voice whispered, She's awake now. Another said, And she's just begun. Asterisk, there was a sunrise. But no sun. Just light breaking over the edge of a forgotten world. Zura stood at the top of a broken cliff, wind moving through her hair. Below, the land was quiet, no cities, no people, only space for something new, behind. Her? Jace climbed the hill slowly, breathing hard. You always choose the high ground, huh? He said. Zura didn't smile, but her voice was lighter. It helps me think. He stood beside her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Jace said, They're scared of you now, all the systems, the governments. They think you're going to lead an uprising. Zura turned to him. I'm not, he nodded. I know. But they don't, she looked at the sky. I don't want to be their leader. I just want to be free. 3 days earlier, after her confrontation with General Voss, Zura sent a message. Across the network, a simple one. I am not your weapon. I am not your fear. I am not your property. I am alive. And I choose peace. Some believed her. Some didn't. Some called her a savior. Others a threat, but the universe had heard her voice, and it couldn't be unheard, now. On this quiet world, Zura reached into her pocket and pulled out the memory cube one last time. She held it in her hands. Gently, I want to bury it here, she said. Jace raised an eyebrow. Why? Because my past doesn't control me anymore, she answered. I carry the truth in me now. I don't need to prove it. She placed the cube into the earth, no ceremony, just purpose. Then she stood and whispered, Goodbye. Back at the ship, a signal came through, not from an enemy, but from a small colony requesting help. A mining system had been attacked. Civilians hurt. No one had responded. Jace looked at the screen. We could go. It's a trap, maybe. But it might not be. Zura stared at the message for a moment, then she said, Let's go. On the way there. Zura sat near the observation window. Jace walked in, 2 mugs of warm synth coffee in hand. Still thinking? He asked. She took the mug and nodded. I used to wonder who I was, a weapon, a mistake, a project. And now? He asked. She looked at her reflection in the glass. I'm still figuring it out, but I think I'm someone who gets to choose what happens next. Jace smiled. That's more than most people get. Zura's voice was soft. It's enough. When they landed, the colony wasn't a trap. It was real. Buildings burned. People were scared. Children cried. But when Zura stepped out of the ship, they didn't run. They didn't scream. They looked at her with wide eyes, and hope, a little girl with oil on her face, ran up to Zura and tugged at her sleeve. Are you the Skyfire lady? She asked. Zura knelt down. What's that? The one who makes the light. The one who stops the bad ones. Zura blinked, then smiled. For real. I guess I am. Later, when the fires were out. Zura stood with Jace, watching the colony repair itself. He nudged her with his elbow. You sure you don't want to start a rebellion or something? You're halfway there, she laughed softly. No, but maybe I'll start something else. Like what? She turned toward the stars. Balance. Final scene. Back in deep space. The ship flies forward, small against the stars. Inside. Zura and Jace prepare the next course. No map, no orders. Just the unknown. Zura looks out the window one last time. I was made for war. She says. She closes her eyes. But I choose something better. Then she presses the button, and the stars rush forward.